Hey beauty, it's Ker-leen. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing with you some of the fragrances that I was complimented on the most in 2023. So if you're interested to see what they are, then please keep watching. Hey friend, welcome back. So today I'm going to try and move through these fragrances very quickly because it can get long when you're talking about several fragrances in one video. But before we get into it, for those of you who are new, thank you for clicking on this video. On this channel, I make videos on lifestyle, luxury. I do review videos to include fragrance reviews, and I also share my personal life and my motherhood journey in my monthly vlogs. So if any of those things sounds interesting to you, I would love to have you here. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. So over on my new TikTok, I've had my TikTok for over a year now, but I've just recently started posting, and the more I posted content, the more I found what people wanted to see from me. And so now I'm doing lots of fragrance content on my TikTok. So over on TikTok, I posted a video, and actually here on YouTube as well, I posted a video of 5 fragrances that I was complimented on the most in 2023, and people seem to really enjoy it. So I thought I'd do an extended version of that and talk about these fragrances as well as a couple of others in a long form video. So that's really what this video is today. So I'll pop the notes on the screen so you can see the notes, because we're not going to get into notes in this video. I don't want it to be too long. So the first one is one of the ones that I'm in love with. This fragrance, y'all, is one of the fragrances I consider could be a signature scent. It's gorgeous. It's just amazing. It's just an amazing scent, and that is Maison Mataha's Escapade Gourmande. This is such a gorgeous, very linear, but very sophisticated and elevated vanilla fragrance. You get a creme brulee vibe from this because it does smell fluffy and creamy and light, yet savory. It's so good. It's sweet, but not too sweet. If you've ever had a creme brulee, you know it's not like the sweetest dessert ever. That is the perfect dessert to describe this fragrance. And this is a fragrance that should win all the awards. This is a scent that I would consider to be a masterpiece scent, because I don't think I've ever smelled a vanilla like this. And I've smelled quite a few vanilla fragrances, and I have never smelled a vanilla fragrance that is as unique as this. It's like they captured and encapsulated the sweet, cozy, warm essence of vanilla, but this doesn't get dense, it doesn't get heavy. It's extremely linear, but it's still very interesting. It's very light and airy, not ozonic, but very light and airy. This is one of those fragrances that has a beautiful sillage. The scent trail is incredible, and the projection is at least 4 to 5 feet. However, it's not something that arrives into a room before you do. So it's all of these things into one. I don't know how they did it, but they've done it, and it's absolutely beautiful. Every time I've worn this, every single time, I have gotten a compliment. This is such a compliment getter. It's obviously very crowd pleasing because of the DNA. And this was such an amazing and stunning fragrance discovery for me in 2023. So yeah, this is Escapade Gourmande by Maison Mataha. So this is Dolce & Gabbana's Devotion. Devotion is a fragrance that was unexpected to me, because when I think Dolce & Gabbana, I do not typically think gourmand. I don't think sweet, I don't think creamy, I don't think dessert. When I think of their fragrances, I typically will think of very fresh, very floral, very light, very effervescent. And I know they have like the Only One and all the flankers, and so, you know, I know there is that, but typically when you think of the brand, you don't think of a heavily gourmand scent. And then they hit us with Devotion, and I was really surprised by this one in a good way, in the best way possible. This is the typical Dolce & Gabbana vibes, down to the bottle, down to this emblem. It's just borderline gaudy, but it is classic Dolce & Gabbana vibes, and I love that. I love that. I think that's what this scent is as well. This scent This is what the It Girl, the Dolce & Gabbana It Girl wears in the fall and winter. It's very sweet, it's very thick, it's very creamy, but it's not overly sweet, it's not juvenile. There's a fresh element that is reminiscent of a lot of the other fragrances from Dolce & Gabbana, with that candied lemon at the opening of this. But it goes into a very sweet and edible direction, and that is what this It Girl is. This is a woman who has lots of confidence, an impeccable wardrobe, and she loves to smell good, but she also wants a little bit of a coziness to her fragrance in the fall and winter. That is who is wearing this. That's what I feel like you get in this bottle. And every time I've worn this fragrance, someone has said this, it's very sweet, it's very delicious. Hubby likes this one, it's hubby approved. My kids love the way I smell with this. So yeah, this is one that was a compliment getter for me in 2023, and not just by other people, but by myself, okay? I complimented myself. I enjoyed the way that I smelled myself when I wore this. This is just so, so good. This is Dolce & Gabbana's Devotion. Okay, so this next one, in contrast to the previous two, is very girly, not unisex whatsoever in my opinion, and one that is hubby approved. My husband absolutely loves this fragrance. I get complimented by him every single time I have this on. For that reason, I tend to reach for this around the house and before bed, and this is Flowerbomb Ruby Orchid by Viktor and Rolf. This one right here, compliment getter. It was a compliment getter for me in 2023, and it is one that I love wearing on cold days in the evening. This is it. I love wearing this. What is so intoxicating about this one is it has like a peach. It's like a very ripe peach, right? But the peach is cut up, so the flesh of the peach is exposed, and then you put that peach into syrup. That's really what I get from this fragrance. I know there are other notes in here, but honestly, that's what I get from this fragrance. It's so yummy, intoxicating. It's not like an overly gourmand scent, but it's a very sweet and delicious scent. It still has a perfumey element to it, which I think is nice, because sometimes, you know, we don't want to just smell like food, but this is very, very delicious smelling as well. So it's very girly. I think the bottle of the fragrance encapsulates what you get perfectly, because it is very girly, but as you can see, the bottle is like a shade of ruby that has a little tinge of pink. It's not overly pink, it's not overly red, it's somewhere in the middle, and I think that is exactly what you get in this fragrance. So this is a Flowerbomb Ruby Orchid by Viktor and Rolf, and this is one that my spouse really enjoys and that I got lots of compliments on. So we're gonna pick up another one that is hubby approved, since we're on that topic, meaning my husband enjoys it and I love this fragrance. It's so good, and other people enjoy this as well. The other day I sprayed this on and my son said, "Mom, you smell so good," and that is Ker-leen Herrera's Very Good Girl. This fragrance is a designer scent that is worth every bit of your coin, in my opinion. It is so, so good. If you love the Delina DNA and you have Delina and you don't want to overspray it and you want to preserve your Delina because it's more expensive, obviously, this is a good one to have on an everyday basis. This is like an everyday scent. It's a very effervescent, bright, juicy scent. It has a bit of tartness to it. It has lots of sweetness, but it is very fresh. This is such a great investment as far as designer fragrances go. I would say it lasts moderately, so 4 to 5 hours, but it is such a beautiful fragrance. In those first few hours, it projects so nicely, definitely at least 4 feet. People will smell you. The sillage is incredible. It's such a great value for your money as far as a designer fragrance goes, because although this does not last all day, so it's not an all day type of fragrance, you get moderate projection, you get about 4 to 5 hours on the clothes, a little bit longer, and this is a gorgeous scent that will garner all the compliments. It's a little unique in the DNA and it just smells so good, okay? It smells so good. This is a very bright, juicy, effervescent fragrance. It has a little bit of tartness. It has a little bit of sweetness from that lychee, the berries in the opening. It's even a little bit soapy, like a tad bit soapy. It doesn't go all the way in that direction, but it's a little bit soapy. It's very effervescent. It's very girly. It's very feminine. You get that blast of juicy tart brightness in the opening, and then you start getting a beautiful rose as it starts to dry down. The deep dry down of this is where you get that gorgeous vanilla, and the vetiver is more of a supporting note. It's not something that I can detect throughout the wear of this fragrance, so I love this fragrance. It's so good. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about this one. I always get a compliment when I have this on. It's just really good. It's a crowd-pleasing fragrance for sure. My next compliment getting fragrance of 2023 was Valaya by Parfums de Marly. So Valaya is interesting because it's a freshie, but it's a freshie that you've never smelled before. Like, I've never smelled anything like this before. This was not even on my radar. I actually went into Neiman Marcus to smell another fragrance I was purchasing, and then the sales associate handed me a tester card with this fragrance on it. And I smelled it at first. I was like, it's okay. And I put it in my bag, and I purchased my other fragrance, went home, and for like the next week, every time I opened up my bag, the fragrance that was still on that tester card hit me over and over again. And it was the most beautiful, fresh, bright peach with a bit of woodiness that I had ever smelled. And not to mention, this fragrance was clearly beast mode and long lasting. I'm telling you, the entire week, when I threw that tester card away, the fragrance was still on it, and it was still potent, and you could detect it. So needless to say, this fragrance right here is one that I just had to have. This fragrance, y'all, is so distinct. It's so unique. It has such a presence for a freshie. It's incredible what they've done with this fragrance, how they have captured a very bright and fresh and effervescent fragrance, and then they took it and they added a bit of creaminess to it, a fruit to it, and then they added a wood note to it. This fragrance is just such a unique fragrance. Oh my goodness, that bright, zesty opening. This is so good. This is so juicy. And it's exactly what you want to smell on like a really hot day, and you just want to quench your thirst. You get this beautiful fruity drink that has ice in it. That's what you smell at the top of this. Is so bright and fruity and juicy. And then it starts getting a tad bit creamy. It's not a creamy fragrance, but there's a tinge of creaminess in here, a very, very subtle amount of creaminess. Then you start getting a beautiful woody accord. That woody accord starts to come through. Oh, I love this scent. I haven't worn it since the summertime here in Florida, but I am so excited to wear this some more this coming spring and summer. Y'all, this is going to be in heavy rotation. This is such a compliment getter, and this is one that I think everyone will love when you have this on. It also catches people's attention because it performs so beautifully. So yeah, this is Parfums de Marly's Valaya. This was one that was highly complimented for me in 2023. All right, so this next fragrance is one that is another It Girl scent. If you want attention, you may want to try to get yourself a decant of this, if not the full bottle. This is Mula's Double Caramel. This fragrance is such an attention-grabbing DNA. A lot of people compare the DNA of this one to Xerjoff's Herba Pura. If you enjoy that kind of DNA, then you'll probably really enjoy this one. This is such a beautiful scent. I had like a 15 ml of the original, the blue bottle, and then I went and upgraded to this one. And y'all, every time I have this on, I get a compliment. This is one that people absolutely go crazy over. I love this one. It's such a confidence boosting fragrance too. There's something about the DNA that just boosts my confidence when I have it on. And I said this in a previous video, if you were to imagine old money versus new money, this is a new money scent right here, in the sense that the DNA is very modern, but it smells very expensive. It smells opulent. It smells like you are here to handle business. That's how I feel when I have this on. And I think that that essence and that vibe, people get that too when they smell this, because this was such a compliment getter for me. So this is one that I'm looking forward to wearing over and over again. This is a year-round fragrance. You can pair this with other scents in the fall and winter to make it warmer, but I can also see this being really, really nice in the spring. I don't know about the summer. This is fairly new to my collection, so we'll see how it does in the summertime. It might get a little too cloying, especially because this one has a really prominent caramel note. So we'll see how this one does, but it's fruity, it's woody, it's sweet. It has like a caramel, a vanilla. It's like a fruit puree or a fruit nectar of sorts. And this is so good. This is Mula Double Caramel by Byron Parfums. For the last one, this is another new one to my collection. This is one I've talked about over and over again ad nauseum by this point, but I love it. It was a compliment getter for me. And this is one of those cozy fragrances. But what is interesting about this one is that it's cozy, but it's so refined, it's so elevated, it's so sophisticated, and that is Mani Casanad by Navitus and Sharita. This is such an elevated vanilla fragrance, and it is absolutely intoxicating. This is everything you want to smell like if you love a vanilla fragrance. If you're a gourmand girly, this is it, y'all. As with Middle Eastern houses, similar to some of the other Middle Eastern fragrances you might have picked up, the fragrances from Navitus you have to let sit, you have to let oxygen into the bottle, let them macerate for a little bit before you can get the true essence of these fragrances. And y'all, this one has developed and is continuing to develop into its absolute full potential, and it is such a gorgeous scent. This is an ice cream, and this is a very sweet vanillic fragrance. It has a dessert-like essence to it. It has a little bit of woods. It's a unisex scent, but I think it leans a little bit more feminine. It has a seriousness to it, so it's not juvenile, but it's very sweet. It's very sweet, but it never gets too sweet, and it is just an elevated gourmand. So I would say this is good for special occasions. This is good for date nights, and you want to wear something that smells absolutely edible. This is perfect for the winter time. I have paired this with my very fall-like scents like Jani by Soradora. I've also paired this with Kamra Kawa. I've paired this with so many different fragrances, and I've also worn it on its own. And when I wore it on its own, it definitely garnered all the compliments, and this was such a compliment getter for me in 2023. And I'm absolutely in love with this fragrance. So this is Mani Casanad by Navitus and Sharita. I'm sure you already know who Sharita is here on YouTube, but I will link her channel down below in case you do not. All right, so that wraps up all of my most complimented fragrances of 2023. Before you click off this video today, I would like to know, what were some of your most complimented fragrances of 2023? I'm always looking to learn about new fragrances, and so I would love to know what some of those were for you. Thank you to those of you who are still watching. And if you are here and don't have anything to comment per se, go ahead and leave me an emoji down below so that I know you were here. Before you go, I want to remind you to keep letting your unique light shine, because that's what's going to create change in your world and in the world of those around you, is being your unique self. I will be over here doing the exact same thing. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.